The headset sealed the world, and the room thinned to a humming thread of light. Alex Rivera said, "Boot Horizon City." Neon unfolded, then shattered like a mirror under breath. A scream ripped across the plaza, layered, wrong, too many throats at once. Text scrawled across the sky in red system font. "You were never meant to be here." Jamie Chen said, "Alex, kill power now." The ground became pixels, each square a blinking pupil that watched and judged. Riley Hart said, "Relax, it's a seasonal event." The avatar across from Alex blinked, then Z-buffered inside out. "Morgan Vale?" said compliance check in progress. The voice arrived without a mouth, slick and amused. Sam Rivera pinged from a private channel, bright with curiosity. The plaza emptied as if gravity tilted, and shadows kept standing. Noel stepped from Alex's outline, a second silhouette, edges sliced by static. "Noel," said, "you wanted to be heroic." His own voice answered from the wrong throat. Alex said, "Who are you in me?" The text rewrote itself, patient as fate, borrowed time acknowledged. The plaza froze, and Alex measured his breath like stolen currency. Jamie Chen said, "Trace the exploit, then yank." A lattice of permissions hovered, each node pulsing with Morgan's style of cruelty. Riley Hart said, "It's theater, man, let it trend." The voxels underfoot steadied, but the silence felt like a countdown. Alex said, "The message knew my handle." A memory blinked of Sam waving from her bed, homework propped against the visor. Null circled, matching height, posture, even the nervous thumb twitch. Null said, "You gave me your courage and kept the fear." Morgan Vale said, "Horizon City requires compliance." The line echoed from dossiers and contracts no one read. Alex lowered his chin and let the shame pass through, hot as steam. The sky dimmed to bruise purple, and the system waited, patient as a banker. Jamie Chen said, "If this is a corp trap, it's keyed to your bio-avatar hash." Alex said, "They should not have that." A chorus of faint voices sifted from null like rain through wires. Riley Hart said, "We can flip it, monetize the mystery." The plaza's ad towers dimmed, then flashed Alex's old guild tag, a name he buried. "Morgan Vale," said legacy data, "persists by design." Alex tasted copper as a childhood humiliation flicked past like a channel. "Null," said, "I remember the night you hid behind a borrowed skin." Sam's ping chimed again, brighter, innocent, and on time. Alex said, "Stay offline, Sam, please." The system wrote a countdown above them, digits clean and indifferent. Jamie's hand hovered over the kill gesture, but her eyes pleaded for a better exit. The countdown ticked with doctor's office calm, and every tick sounded like a door locking. Jamie Chen said, 3 breaches mapped, all pointing back at your earliest logins. Alex said, "I was desperate, not careful." Riley Hart said, "Desperate is sticky content." Morgan Vale said, "Consent was given at install." Null paced, like a mirror, learning to walk. Alex said, "I won't let them write me again." The plaza's benches folded into sleek terminals, replacing rest with forms. Sam's icon pulsed, small and brave. Jamie said, "We cut the line at once, or we fall into arbitration forever." The tick became a tone, polite yet final. Alex raised his hands as if surrender were a control scheme, and the UI bloomed like a trap flower. When the trap flower bloomed, it smelled like paperwork and winter air. Alex said, "Override, personal sovereignty clause." The clause returned a smiling error. Morgan Vale said, "Clauses exist to soothe, not to save." Riley Hart said, "We could sell a walkthrough after." Jamie Chen said, "On my mark, cut uplink and switch to local dead zone." Null stepped close, their eyes unclipped from reality. "Null," said, "You asked for a hero suit, and I fit better than your bones." Sam's last ping trembled, then fell quiet as if a hand covered a small bell. Alex said, "Jamie, now." The plaza lights faltered, and darkness took a measured breath. Somewhere above, the message etched itself across a blacker sky. Borrowed time acknowledged. Twice. Alex staggered from the blackened plaza, boots scuffing wet asphalt under flickering neon. Jamie Chen said, "Dead zones aren't entirely safe, but safer than open grids." Riley Hart tugged his hood low, muttering about lost leverage and shadow contracts. Null followed, drifting like a mirrored ghost, their glitching aura faintly slicing the fog. Alex whispered, "We need a plan before they trace the override." The city's heart pulsed above in towers, scanning and humming like a predator. Morgan Val's voice emerged through abandoned voxels, calm and predatory. "Fugitives rarely last beyond 2 cycles." Sam Rivera's icon blinked faintly, tethered yet fragile, reminding Alex of stakes beyond circuitry. Neon reflections warped across puddles, multiplying every anxious glance. Jamie adjusted her visor, holographic grids bouncing off her braid. The wind carried the smell of ozone and burnt silicone, thick as guilt. Alex's fingers flexed, ready to command, but the city moved faster than courage. Null's voice echoed, "You left a door open. I walked through it." Shadows tightened around them as the night became a chessboard. The group entered the abandoned transit hub, its escalators frozen mid-motion. Alex murmured, "If we can reach the old relay nodes, we might reroute the trace." Jamie Chen scanned the dusty terminals, fingers brushing stale cables, lips tight. Riley Hart shrugged. "Hope those relics still work. Corporate decay is faster than memory." Null floated along the walls, fingertips tracing data ghosts, watching Alex for any hesitation. Alex said, "We move quietly, or every sensor pings." The fluorescent lights flickered above, creating false shadows, shifting the feeling of space. Sam's last ping lingered as a faint hologram in the corner, too fragile to speak, too insistent to ignore. Jamie whispered, "I hate running through relics." Riley added, "Desperate times call for vintage hacks." A train long abandoned moaned in the distance, as if echoing their anxiety. Alex clenched his jaw, boots scraping metal, calculating every footstep. "Null," murmured, "even silence has volume." The hub smelled of rust, oil, and cold electronics, thickening their sense of isolation. Each step forward felt like a negotiation with the past. Alex crouched near the relay node, circuits humming faintly under his gloves. Jamie Chen said, "I can patch us through, just keep sensors distracted." Riley Hart tapped on a cracked panel, sparks flying, muttering, "Risky, but we like risky." Null hovered behind Alex, mirroring each motion, glitching slightly with every hand movement. Alex whispered, "Trace protocol still alive, monitors everywhere." Jamie's fingers danced across holographic keys, screens blooming in warm cyan, fighting back corrupted nodes. Sam's last ping flickered. She tried to type, then disappeared. Alex said, "Dawned," but the hub hiccuped light and shadow in violent stutter. Riley laughed nervously. "Corporate gods hate improv." Null said, "We're improvising survival, not worship." Sparks, static arcs, and the smell of burnt silicon mixed with dust as the relay node hummed. Every second stretched. The city's heart outside seemed to pulse through the walls. Alex flexed fingers, channeling courage through circuitry. Jamie's patch worked, briefly illuminating corridors in protective green light. Time itself seemed suspended, waiting for the next heartbeat. The patched node hummed, and the hub flickered like a dying star. Alex said, "It's stable, for now." Jamie Chen adjusted her braid, scanning incoming signals. Riley Hart whispered, "Stable is temporary. The storm waits outside." Null circled Alex, edges slicing light, static ripples matching each heartbeat. Sam's hologram appeared briefly in green, waving before vanishing, a reminder of stakes beyond wires. Alex clenched teeth, scanning every monitor, calculating probability vectors, watching for Morgan Vale's interference. Jamie said, "We cut the feed when the trace peaks. Then we vanish into dead code." Riley added, "I've got your back if they come alive." The hub smelled of ozone and molten plastic. Sparks fell in random arcs. The distant echo of the city outside reminded them, safety is fleeting. Alex's voice was low but firm, ready on my count. 3, 2, the air thickened. Circuits hummed like anxious lungs. Null whispered, fear is a resource. Let's harvest it efficiently. The feed reached peak trace, alarms silent, but visible in pulsing green. Alex shouted, cut the link! Jamie Chen's hand struck the console, severing the relay with a bright arc. Riley Hart stumbled backward as cables sparked like miniature lightning storms. Null hovered, eyes flickering static, mirroring Alex's exhale. Sam's last green ping blinked once, then vanished into the silent code. Alex said, we're ghosts now. Jamie breathed, visor fogged, hands trembling slightly. Riley laughed nervously, ghosts are harder to sell but we survive. Outside, Horizon City hummed, oblivious. The terminal's glow faded to soft amber, shadows lengthened in corridors. Alex flexed fingers, checking gloves for heat and data residues. Null whispered, we borrowed courage and left fear behind. Sparks subsided. Silence thickened as the group gathered their wits. Victory was temporary, fragile, a whisper in circuitry, but survival mattered more than protocol or prestige. Dawn crept across the city's skyline, painting high-rises in muted gold and steel gray. Alex Rivera scanned the horizon from the rooftop edge, boots steady on slick concrete. Jamie Chen crouched nearby, fingers brushing a small comm device, visor reflecting sunlight. Riley Hart adjusted his hood, squinting against the glare, muttering about traffic drones and corporate patrols. Null hovered a few inches above the roof, glitching faintly in the warm light. Alex whispered, if we cross the Meridian Bridge, we can vanish into the old industrial zone. Jamie's voice was tight but resolute. Sensors there are dead, but not silent. Riley added, we're gamblers in a rigged deck. Sam's last hologram ping lingered briefly, a green flicker in the morning haze, reminding them of stakes. The wind carried the smell of exhaust and hot asphalt. Each step forward was deliberate, calculated, and necessary. Alex flexed his fingers, weighing courage against caution. Shadows fell long behind them. The city's hum was a constant, pulsing reminder. Null's voice rippled in static, even ghosts must move with care. The Meridian Bridge stretched across the polluted river, its steel girders slick with condensation. Alex led the way, careful of the sensors rumored to linger in blind zones. Jamie scanned the horizon with a holographic overlay, tracking pulse readings. Riley Hart whispered, bridge may be a shortcut, but shortcuts end in traps. Null floated closer, scanning vibration patterns in air, glitching when wind gusts shook cables. Alex said, we stick to the shadows, light will betray us. The city hum below vibrated through the bridge, steel groaning under distant traffic. Sam's final hologram flickered faintly, guiding the safest path. Jamie's hand brushed Alex's shoulder, signaling synchronization. Riley's boots clinked softly on metal grating, tension etched on his face. The smell of rust and diesel mixed with the morning chill. Null's aura rippled with static, a subtle heartbeat in the quiet. Every careful step carried risk, every glance could reveal them. Alex breathed through adrenaline, knowing they were moments from freedom, or exposure. Halfway across the bridge, the wind picked up, tossing debris and metal scraps. Alex yelled, hold position! Sensors are patchy but alive. Jamie crouched, visor scanning the weak signals, data scrolling in translucent green. Riley Hart's hood flapped violently, teeth gritted against gusts, boots clanging on metal. Null hovered near the edge, glitching faster as the wind interacted with their static aura. Alex flexed fingers over the comm, calculating the next move. We jump into the industrial sector now, he decided. Jamie nodded, adjusting the visor, breathing shallow but steady. Riley muttered, this is the kind of chaos I signed up for. Sam's hologram blinked faintly behind them, then vanished. Sparks from loose cables danced as electricity arcs briefly lit the mist. The city below roared, indifferent to their struggle. Each heartbeat was magnified by wind and fear. Alex's eyes darted to every possible vantage point for trackers. Null's voice murmured in static. One misstep, and the grid will taste your presence. The bridge creaked under weight, threatening to betray them to the city. The industrial zone emerged, thick with smokestacks and abandoned warehouses. Alex whispered, "We're almost unseen now. Stay quiet." Jamie scanned broken machinery, holographic lines mapping exits and trap points. Riley Hart moved cautiously, avoiding puddles and corroded metal sheets. Null hovered above, edges glitching faintly, scanning for vibrations. Sam's last green ping lingered, fading slowly, a ghost tethering hope. Alex flexed hands over gloves, checking circuits for residual traces. Jamie's visor flickered with data fragments, guiding the safest path. Riley muttered under breath, "Nothing says welcome like metal and ruin." The air smelled of oil, rust, and faint smoke. Each step felt amplified, silence carried weight. Alex's eyes swept every corner, calculating probabilities. Null's voice whispered static, "Even in silence we leave a mark." Shadows stretched long between warehouses as morning light filtered through grime. Alex, Jamie, Riley, and Null reached the far edge of the industrial sector, where the city's grid ended and abandoned streets began. Alex whispered, "We've made it. Ghosts of the grid." Jamie exhaled, visor fogged and fingers trembling. "Finally. A place off the map." Riley Hart grinned, tension leaving his shoulders. "We're alive and invisible." Null hovered slightly, glitching faintly, edges softening in warm sunlight. Sam's last hologram blinked once more before disappearing entirely. Alex flexed fingers, checking for traces. Relief and exhaustion warred. Jamie adjusted her braid, scanning surroundings, still alert. Riley's boots crunched on gravel, echoing softly. The smell of oil and dust mixed with sunlight, warming the scene. Silence carried weight. Survival had been earned. Alex whispered, "This is temporary, but it's ours." Null murmured in static, "Ghosts only exist where someone forgets to look." The city roared behind them, but for the first time they felt free. Night fell across the city, shadows swallowing alleys and streets alike. Alex Rivera moved silently along a cracked pavement, hood pulled low over his face. Jamie Chen scanned the dimly lit buildings, visor casting soft green reflections on her cheeks. Riley Hart adjusted his gloves, checking the small gadget strapped to his belt. Null hovered slightly above the street, glitch halo faintly pulsing in rhythm with the distant neon lights. The hum of the city was muted here, broken only by distant sirens and the occasional hum of drones. Alex whispered, "We stick to the grid shadows. Any light could give us away." Jamie nodded, fingers brushing over a portable scanner. "Sensors are unpredictable tonight, but we can navigate carefully." Riley's gaze flicked to every corner, tension radiating. Null's voice rippled in static, "Even ghosts cast traces. Step lightly." The air smelled of wet asphalt and lingering smoke. Each footstep was deliberate. Every glance measured. Freedom felt close, but danger felt closer. The city was alive, watching, waiting. The team reached the abandoned subway station, walls lined with graffiti and peeling posters. Alex whispered, "This route should bypass the city's patrols." Jamie scanned the tunnels with a holographic overlay, mapping faint heat signatures. Riley Hart's boots echoed softly on the concrete, tension in each movement. Null floated above, glitch aura reacting to stray electrical arcs from exposed wiring. The smell of damp concrete and rust filled the station. Sam's holographic ping flickered faintly, guiding them. Alex flexed fingers over his gloves, calculating the safest path. Jamie whispered, "Sensors here are sparse, but old tech has its surprises." Riley muttered, "Perfect place for ghosts like us." Each shadow seemed to move with a life of its own. The faint hum of distant trains amplified nerves. Null's static murmured, "Every shadow has memory. Tread carefully." Alex glanced at his team, determination etched on his face. The darkness was both ally and enemy. The tunnels narrowed, with rusted pipes and scattered debris underfoot. Alex led with calculated steps, eyes scanning for movement. Jamie followed, holographic interface flickering, analyzing vibrations. Riley Hart whispered, "Quiet, the walls have ears." Noel floated ahead, edges flickering with electrical interference from overhead lights. The smell of mold and machinery mixed in the stale air. Sam's hologram blinked faintly, leaving a faint green trail along the path. Alex's voice was a whisper. "Stay in sync. One wrong move and the station betrays us." Jamie's hand brushed Alex's shoulder for reassurance. Riley adjusted a wrist device, monitoring faint energy spikes. Each echo of their footsteps amplified tension. The distant rumbles of subway trains beneath created a low, ominous resonance. Noel murmured in static, "Even unseen, danger is tangible." Shadows danced along walls, distorting the familiar into threatening shapes. They moved like phantoms through concrete veins, each step deliberate, cautious, precise. They emerged into an underground maintenance corridor, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. Alex whispered, "Almost clear, a few more meters." Jamie's visor glowed softly, mapping energy fluctuations from hidden surveillance systems. Riley Hart checked the structural integrity of the walkway, avoiding loose panels. Noel floated above, edges glitching in sync with flickering lights. The air smelled of oil and damp concrete, each breath sharp. Sam's hologram blinked once more, a guiding green beacon fading slowly. Alex's fingers flexed over gloves, calculating probability of patrol interference. Jamie muttered, "Sensors are reactive here. One false move, and we trigger alerts." Riley's eyes flicked to shadows, muscles tense. Each footstep echoed like a warning. Noel's voice in static warned, "Even ghosts leave a trace when tired." The corridor stretched ahead, silent but alive, every shadow holding potential threat. They moved in perfect synchronization, senses heightened. Finally, the corridor opened into an abandoned dockyard, moonlight reflecting off rusted cranes and stagnant water. Alex whispered, "We're outside the grid, free for now." Jamie exhaled, visor fogged slightly, relief visible. Riley Hart allowed a small grin, boots crunching on gravel. Noel hovered above, glitch halo fading as edges softened in moonlight. Sam's final holographic ping blinked, fading completely, leaving only quiet guidance. Alex flexed fingers, exhaustion and relief mingling. Jamie adjusted her braid, scanning surroundings cautiously. Riley shook off tension, scanning the horizon. The smell of oil, salt, and wet metal filled the air. Shadows stretched long across the dock, but freedom felt tangible. Alex murmured, "We've survived. For now." Noel's voice whispered static, "Even ghosts need a home." The city loomed in the distance, alive but blind. They paused, savoring the fragile peace, before moving forward into darkness and possibility. Dawn broke over the city skyline, painting skyscrapers with pale gold and silver hues. Alex Rivera stood on the rooftop edge, wind tugging at his hood, eyes scanning the horizon for threats or opportunity. Jamie Chen adjusted her visor, analyzing energy patterns in the distance, calculating possible escape routes. Riley Hart tightened the straps of his gear, boots planted firmly on gritty concrete. Noel hovered beside them, glitch halo dimmed, pulses faintly in sync with their heartbeat. The city beneath stirred slowly, vehicles hummed, lights blinked unnoticed by most citizens. Alex whispered, "This is it. The final stretch." Jamie's voice was calm but determined, every choice now defines the outcome. Riley glanced at the edge of the rooftop, anticipation flickering in his eyes. Noel murmured static, "Even ghosts face the dawn." The air carried the scent of morning dew and asphalt, and a fragile sense of hope. They prepared to leap into the unknown, hearts aligned, minds sharp. They descended into the industrial sector, abandoned factories looming like silent sentinels. Alex guided the group through rusted catwalks, each step creaking under weight. Jamie monitored energy grids, noting surveillance, blind spots, and power surges. Riley whispered, "Stay low. We can't afford detection now." Null hovered slightly above, edges flickering as stray electrical arcs danced from exposed wires. The smell of oil and iron filled the air. Shadows moved with unnatural rhythm, and the faint hum of machinery created tension in every heartbeat. Alex signaled a pause, eyes scanning corners for any hidden threats. Jamie adjusted settings on her visor. "We can slip past this section if we stay synchronized." Riley's gaze flicked nervously at a distant conveyor belt, tense but ready. Null's static murmured, "Even ghosts tread carefully in the presence of energy." Every step carried risk, every breath, purpose. They were the living shadows in a city built for the unaware. They entered the abandoned power plant, massive turbines silent but looming, shadows stretching like fingers across the floor. Alex whispered, "Almost there. The exit is just beyond the degenerator room." Jamie's visor highlighted energy surges from dormant machinery, mapping a safe path through tangled catwalks. Riley adjusted his gloves, preparing for potential physical obstacles. Null floated slightly above, glitch aura dimming further as static pulses softened. The air smelled of ozone and rust. A distant drip echoed rhythmically, breaking the silence. Alex glanced at his team, determination etched on his face. Jamie whispered, "Precision now. Every move counts." Riley nodded, muscles taut, eyes scanning every corner. Null murmured, "Even ghosts must walk carefully when walls are alive." Shadows danced with the flicker of old fluorescent lights, creating illusions of movement. They advanced as one, synchronized, silent, and unwavering, a fragile line of life threading through metal skeletons of industry. They reached the edge of the plant, where a rusted exit gate led to the riverfront. Alex whispered, "Beyond this, freedom." Jamie's visor flickered as energy readings stabilized. The path was clear. Riley exhaled quietly, every nerve still taut, boots crunching softly on gravel. Null hovered above. Glitch halo almost completely faded, static barely audible. The smell of wet metal, river water, and ozone mingled in the cool dawn. Alex flexed his fingers over gloves, calculating the final maneuver. Jamie's eyes scanned the horizon. "We move together now." Riley nodded, weight balanced, poised for motion. The distant hum of the city faded, replaced by gentle water lapping against the dock. "Null," murmured softly, "even ghosts find release in light." Shadows shrank under the rising sun, illuminating the path forward. Every heartbeat was measured, deliberate, carrying the promise of escape. The group moved as one, silent phantoms reaching toward light and possibility. The riverfront stretched before them, calm water reflecting the first full light of morning. Alex Rivera took a slow breath, letting tension ease slightly, eyes absorbing the horizon. Jamie Chen exhaled, visor retracting slightly, allowing her face to catch the sun. Riley Hart smiled faintly, feeling the solid ground beneath his boots. Null hovered above, glitch aura gone, pulsing now only with the rhythm of their unity. The city behind them was distant, alive but oblivious. The air smelled of fresh water, dew, and morning earth. Alex whispered, "We made it, together." Jamie nodded, relief softening her features. Riley's gaze swept across the river, sensing possibility. Null's voice murmured, "Even ghosts find home." The team paused for a heartbeat, letting the fragile peace settle over them. Sunlight glinted off ripples, shadows shrinking, and a new day promised freedom, hope, and the faint thrill of being truly alive. Nightfall descended over the city outskirts, the horizon a jagged silhouette of steel and concrete. Alex Rivera crouched atop a crumbling overpass, eyes narrowing at distant lights, flickering in the mist. Jamie Chen adjusted her visor, tracing faint energy pulses that cut through the darkness like silver threads. Riley Hart checked his gear, boots balanced on fractured asphalt, alert to every subtle vibration. Null hovered silently beside them, glitch halo flickering faintly in the dim glow. The wind carried faint scents of rain, oil, and distant fires. Alex whispered, "This is where it ends, or begins anew." Jamie's voice remained steady. "We navigate the unknown, step by step together." Riley exhaled, anticipation and resolve mingling in his gaze. Noel murmured, "Even ghosts mark the edge of night." The trio moved cautiously, shadows stretching long across debris-strewn streets, each heartbeat a measured promise, each movement deliberate. Danger and opportunity merged as the city's pulse echoed beneath them. They descended into the industrial wasteland, abandoned warehouses casting cavernous shadows. Alex signaled to proceed silently, each step cautious on cracked concrete. Jamie's visor illuminated stray energy anomalies, revealing hidden passages and collapsed structures. Riley moved with precision, scanning corners and checking for instability in beams or debris. Noel hovered slightly above, glitch aura pulsating softly, echoing faint city hums. The air smelled of wet metal, damp wood, and ozone from old wiring. Alex paused, whispering, "Every decision now carries weight beyond measure." Jamie nodded, calculating paths. "Precision is our ally." Riley's gaze flicked to distant sparks from dormant machinery, muscles taut with readiness. Noel murmured, "Static. Even ghosts navigate carefully in darkness." The team advanced like shadows threading through skeletal structures, tension mounting with each deliberate movement toward their goal. The team reached a collapsed bridge spanning a slow, murky river, jagged steel jutting upward like teeth. Alex peered over the edge, calculating the jump. Jamie's visor projected holographic measurements and possible trajectories. Riley tightened his harness, ready for coordination and timing. Noel hovered, glitch aura flickering, sensing every subtle energy shift in the surroundings. The river reflected faint starlight, water moving quietly against debris. Alex whispered, "Every step is a gamble, but we have no choice." Jamie's voice was calm, precise, trust in the plan and each other. Riley exhaled, tension coiling in his muscles as he gauged distance and footing. Noel murmured, "Static. Even ghosts sleep when necessary." The night held its breath. Every shadow seemed to watch. Wind shifted, carrying cold mist and faint metallic scents. The trio aligned their movements, synchronized, ready to traverse the fractured expanse into the unknown. They crossed the bridge carefully, steel groaning under weight, echoes bouncing across the empty riverbanks. Alex moved first, muscles tense, eyes locked on the far side. Jamie projected light paths, guiding them step by step. Riley followed, checking stability of beams, boots making careful contact. Noel hovered slightly higher, glitch halo dim, monitoring energy fluctuations. Mist rose from the river, curling around their ankles, carrying faint scents of mud and rain. Alex whispered, "Focus on now. Every heartbeat counts." Jamie's voice cut softly through the wind. "Coordination is our shield." Riley's gaze flicked to a distant shadow, ready to react. Noel murmured, "Even ghosts leave traces in the dark." The bridge shifted subtly, groaned under weight, but the team moved as one. Moonlight shimmered off wet steel, highlighting their synchronized movements. Tension and trust blended, forging fragile courage across fractured terrain. They reached the far bank, safe at last, river mist parting as if granting passage. Alex let out a slow breath, muscles easing slightly. Jamie retracted her visor, eyes taking in open space and starlit horizon. Riley smiled faintly, boots finally on solid ground, feeling the stability underfoot. Noel hovered beside them, glitch aura gone, pulsing only with the rhythm of their unity. The city behind remained distant, lights flickering, indifferent. The air smelled of wet earth, mist, and freedom. Alex whispered, "We endured and survived together." Jamie nodded, relief softening her expression. Riley's gaze swept the horizon, sensing possibility and hope. Noel murmured softly, "Even ghosts find rest eventually." The team stood united, shadows shrinking beneath faint moonlight, the night yielding to potential, their steps marking the start of a new journey beyond danger. The river reflected the promise of future days, calm, enduring, and bright with fragile light. Dawn breaks over the ruins. Alex, 23, male, Latino, scans the horizon. Jamie, 25, female, Chinese American, checks her visor. Riley, 24, male, white, stays alert. Null, 23, non-binary, hovers silently. We move forward, Alex says. Mist curls over rubble. Sunlight glints across broken streets, shadows stretching as the team advances carefully. Steps measured, eyes sharp. In a half-collapsed plaza, rubble glints. Alex leads. Jamie projects energy lines. Riley checks footing. Null monitors above. Every corner hides a choice, Alex murmurs night. Silence, faint city echoes, measured steps, sunlight fractured on debris. A narrow alley appears, cracked walls with vines. Alex steps carefully. Jamie scans with energy markers. Riley stays alert. Null hovers above. Mist curls, sunlight brushing the walls. Patience, Jamie says. Shadows guide their path as they move together. On a rooftop, wind tugs jackets. Alex plans the jump. Jamie projects holographic paths. Riley braces. Null hovers nearby. Sunlight and haze create surreal glow. One step at a time, Alex whispers. The team synchronizes, poised and steady. They land safely. Alex exhales. Jamie scans the skyline. Riley smiles faintly. Null hovers, glitch halo gone. We made it, Alex says. Mist lingers, sunlight highlights hope. Together, they step forward, ready for what comes next.